Okay, so today I'm going to take apart this shot and explain kind of how you can, with a little bit of planning, you can shoot cars that don't necessarily exist. We did this shot of these three ZR1s during the first day of last year's Hot Rod Power Tour. The ZR1 had just come out at that point, and it was kind of like a big deal car that was going to be there. And in the morning, we found this white one, set up a shoot with him, and then the red one had come off the track a little later, and we decided it would be really cool if we can get it together. And then while we were setting it up, we would thought it'd be really awesome if, this big American car that was burning, if we could find a blue one to go with them. We looked all over the event, thousands of cars in attendance, just um, couldn't find a blue one. So we decided to see what we could do to just kind of fake it, but make it look as real as possible. So what we did was, most people would take the shot and then kind of cut the frame in half and flip it over, and that's fine. But you run the risk of it'll be a mirror image, so your logos will be backwards, any kind of words will be backwards. So what we ended up doing, go all the way back to the beginning, started here with the red and white one. Then we measured out and marked the floor and drove the red one around to the other side after we'd gotten all of our frames. So after we got all of our frames with the red one on this side, we then drove it around to a spot we had marked and measured out on the other side to match it. So max that in. Here we go with both red cars. We got it back and noticed our measurements were a little bit off. We'll take care of that later. Here we polarize and light the other side. Same thing on this side. We'll light for the front so they match. Headlights on the white one. Clean up that little spot here on the badge. This is all just replacing parts, getting the best possible parts out of the other frames that we had taken. What did we do here? I don't even know sometimes. So many different layers. Oh, this was just brightening up down here on the wheels. Cloning out the cars in the back. And here's where we start to change the color. We had shot another photo of another blue Corvette that's in the same color, so we could match, so we could make sure our blue match, so it would look real. Show you up close how we did it. So red, just using the hue tools in the red to change it. I mean, realistically, you can make it any color you want. Some colors work better for this than others. But yeah, you can do, reset that to blue. And here's where we went back. There was some pieces in the original mask that didn't change so well, so we went back and fixed those. Select the color to fix some of the other pieces that didn't really match that well. Curves to bring out the ground. Dial down the red. Gradients to darken up the side. Cloning out that light pole, all the light poles. And then here's, copied that little piece, moved it over so that the gap would be the same. We did that with the help of, always nice to use guides to make sure that our gaps were the same. And then put back in the original background so it wasn't stretched. Since the shot never moved off the tripod, then this whole background was able to be used so you couldn't tell it was moved. Some more, get rid of the poles again by moving that layer back up and painting them out. Darken the headlights. Cloning on the ground. More cloning on the ground. Taking some of the blues and reflections out of the carbon. More cloning. It's cloning constantly. More cloning. Darken the windshield. Same thing, just taking colors out of the carbon, making it as neutral as possible. Cloning here on the hood. Little dodge in here. Always playing with the color on the blue one to make sure we got one that matched. Curves here on the ground again. That to make sure that splitter was solid. Brought out that highlight to make it one piece. More darkening on the clouds. A little more color play on the blue car. Little curves to make it pop. Copy the whole thing down, a little bit of sharpening. More color to the whole, like a universal color to tie it all back in together. That was a rotate to make sure it was flat. Another little pop of contrast. And then I like to just copy everything down one more and have the whole image at the top layer. I don't know why, it's just something I do, but that's it. So, like I said, with a little bit of planning, we could have done it, flipped it. It probably would have been quicker to do on set, but it's not really the right way to do it. This way, the cars technically actually existed in the frame, and all we had to do was change the color of the blue one. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure to subscribe for more content like this, and let me know what you think down in the comments.